That's
Lost time. Hey, everyone.
Hi, folks.
We're only a minute late. I know we're usually so punctual. I was just wrapping up my reading, and Gary was trying to message me, and I was ignoring him because I wasn't done yet. So then he called Michelle to let me know what's going on.
Yeah, it was one of those. Shelly typed, "David, you have a live stream in 4 minutes." Oh,
live stream, I say. So what have you been up to today?
Oh my gosh, I've been busy. So
he woke up, went downtown to look for a job, and hung out in front of the drugstore.
That's what I did. No, I just I did some walking. I've walked about 16,000 steps so far. Swam 3,000 yards. Did a little grocery shopping at Trader Joe's and Costco, and learned to read.
Yeah, I was going to say the whole Renaissance bit there, really.
Yes.
So when I had spied on you yesterday, you were by Trader. Did you go to Trader Joe's yesterday, or did you get your haircut yesterday?
I was by Trader Joe's yesterday.
What's her name, Gary?
No, there's a couple things I picked up yesterday and a couple things I wanted to get today. So,
did any of them involve those incredible maple cookies that they have?
No, they did not. I had gone to Costco, and they had a 5-liter mini keg of Paulaner beer.
Mm.
So I bought that, and I bought some sauerkraut, and then I was going to go to Trader Joe's today to get the bratwurst, but they did not have the Bavarian bratwurst. I was quite disappointed.
It sounds like you're doing some type of Oktoberfest themed meal.
Yes, for those that aren't going to the Oktoberfest.
Aw. So your kids are, so in other words, Jacksontown, huh?
No, I was gonna invite Amanda and Manuel over, but Laura had COVID. She's tested negative today, so maybe we'll have them over like Friday or Saturday next week or something.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, we've got over 200 people in the room now as we bought a few moments there.
Yeah.
All right. So
you were recording your reading today is this for Monday?
Yeah, this is the reading. It's going to go up at midnight tonight.
And
I also did a tour of the Crystal Cabinet earlier, and I was trying to get that uploaded on my phone, and it's been a half an hour and it hasn't fully uploaded yet, so the phone thing isn't working. I'll have to figure out. I might have to just plug it into my computer, transfer the file there, and do it the way I'm used to doing it.
I'm going to show Sandy my keg.
I've had Troopa Loompa being booed at the U.S. Open. Though it's kind of funny, the name of the two guys in the final are let's put a straw in it.
Yeah, exactly.
The name of the players' names in the final are Sinner and Alcaraz.
I've seen Sinner play before.
And this AP News headline says the Sinner versus Alcaraz U.S. Open final starts after a delay, and I'm reading it saying the Sinner versus Alcatraz, and it has a picture of Trump. And it's like, well, which one is he? I want him to go to Alcatraz. That's a perfect landing spot for him.
Oh my gosh!
Great news, no windmills. He should love it, You can hang out with the Capone and the Birdman and things like that.
All his mob buddies.
Jeez. Oh, we've already got somebody wants you to dance here.
Philip
Airman.
Oh, Philip. Hey, Philip, how are you? Woo! How you feeling, Philip? I hope you're doing well. And then Sandy, yay!
Sandy Johnson wants you hammered to begin with. Me, on the other hand, I'll stick with the iced coffee because that's how we're rolling here.
You were always the smarter of the Montgolfier brothers.
Sorry, Brian. You can record. Well, you can always watch this later if you want to watch the 49er game. You just don't get to play in the comment section, or you could just sort of tape the 49er game and
just pop back on during the commercials.
Exactly.
Lord knows there's enough of them.
That's fine, Brian. You go enjoy the Niners. I haven't really been fun, and it's certainly Gary and I watched a lot of football growing up. Exactly. But not so much anymore. I just don't have the bandwidth for watching sports anymore.
What I do is if they win, I'll go out to YouTube, and they've about 20, 30 minutes after the game, they put the highlights of the game. And so you can just watch. It's about a 20-minute video of all the highlights of both teams. And you get all the major stuff without wasting, without investing 3 hours of your time. You can do it in 15, 20 minutes. And if they lose, I don't watch it at all. So I invested my time in things that were more productive for me.
Julie was asking if I felt the 3.2 earthquake in Pleasanton. I did not. Even though I'm only about 10 or 15 miles north of Pleasanton, did not feel that. Now 3.2, if you're right on top of it, that's all right. That'll do all right. It's a small shaker.
Yeah, that's like a big truck going down the street.
Exactly. Okay. Anything you want to start the reading? So for the folks in the comment section, items you want us to read on.
Yeah.
Just type up questions, put them in all caps. I'll try and star them so that I recognize them when they come in, and then we'll read on those. And Cindy Grogan says drunk tarot is the best tarot.
Indeed. Cindy, I appreciate your outlook on life. Cheers. Cindy, who is that a picture of in your image? I think you told me once in the comments, because you had an image before and then you changed it to this one. Oh, Roberta Dunn. Oh, I thought it said Roberto Duran. It's like, hey, we got boxers in the. Let's see, my 16-year-old. Oh.
Did she have a heart attack? If so, I wouldn't be surprised if her leaving suddenly was to spare you anguish in decision making. Gary's had more than one cat where they've either, he had one cat that got run over by a car, and the decision to put her down had to be done sort of quickly.
Yeah. So we had 6 cats at one point. We're down to 3. I've had 2 that passed very suddenly, and 1 that was more prolonged. And I would much rather it pass suddenly than a prolonged illness.
And my dogs have all been prolonged. Well, Cody he collapsed one evening, and we took him down to the vet, and we just put him down that night. But he was also 14 and a half years old too. But that was hard.
Yeah.
But it's a hard decision at that moment because you really didn't have too much time to prepare. But even if you do have time to prepare, like it did for Bella and Dex, it's still heartbreaking because you have to do it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to pull the trigger because, well, maybe they're not as bad as I think they are, and the poor animal's just languishing there. So
yeah, that's how I was with Dallas. It's just, how do you know that the dog is alive, but he's not in a great place, and you just want to sort of know that you didn't cut them short, as it were.
I think it was done to spare your feelings, that the health wasn't going to be good, and she had a great lifetime, loved her time with you, and was on borrowed time at that point. And by having it happen quickly, you didn't have to anguish over it. It's just it was no longer your decision to make, and that in itself can be quite the mercy.
Yes, I've been joined by 2 cats.
Yes, because you're sitting at a table and now it's food and treat time.
Yeah, Kakuna just went cruising through the kitchen, and Kitten is sitting here. I fed her twice already today. What can I do for you, Kitten? Can you come and get? I've got the cat removal tool coming.
Would that be Jack?
No, that would be Laura.
Uh,
She tested negative this morning, so she's now COVID free.
Hello.
There might be a can of food right there that you can offer her. It's on the table.
Okay, so people want to know,
Yes.
what's it like to be a conservative?
Oh God. I'm becoming more and more progressive and liberal at every heartbeat. Yeah, we grew up in a really conservative Republican household where, Ronald Reagan was revered and labor unions were to be despised. And as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more financially a stronger financial foundation where I don't have to necessarily worry about if an unexpected expense pops up. So I'm in a position where I've got enough and I don't need to pursue the almighty dollar and hoard as much as possible. And that was part of the progressive shift. The other is the Republican Party just making a hard right turn and running like hell with it. Where it's just like, I don't even recognize the Republican Party. They have to come hard left and they have to do it for, 2 decades before they're kind of back into my,
back to where they were in the early 90s.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in, I love social programs. I think they're fantastic. I think it's a good idea to understand how you're going to pay for that stuff.
Yeah, you just can't. Just like the Republicans are dumping all this money into the industrial military complex, it feels better to dump it into welfare programs, but at the same time, not at the expense of our grandchildren's future.
Yeah, yes, it's like, for example, as a conservative, if you will, fiscal conservative, I want to see the budget balanced. I want to see the deficit addressed. I don't want to see the government's taking more and more money out of Social Security and kicking the can down the road, because there's a lot of people that have paid into that for their entire careers, counting on that money to be there for them on the other side. And now the government is at a point where they might not be able to honor their agreement. And that pisses me off. So that's kind of one of those, I understand the social program. It's an entitlement in as much as we've paid into it, we've invested into it, and we are entitled to our investment. And that annoys the crap out of me that no one seems to be taking this as seriously as they should.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, once upon a time, the upper tax rate in this country was about 70% until Reagan got in there and lowered it to the upper 30s. And it might just be that, I'm not all for like tax the rich, but the wealth has been shoved up. And with that great wealth comes great responsibility. Touching on, Gary said something earlier, and I think there's really something to be said for this. I think you'd agree with it. What you and I really hope for is that people have enough resources that they're comfortable and they have hope for a future.
Yeah.
And when you've hit that spot where it's like, I've got enough, I don't need really much more than what I've got, I'm in a really good spot. What you want then is everybody to be have that same feeling that you've got.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like to them.
You're not worried about food hitting the table that night. You're not worried about where you're going to sleep that night. And if your car has an unexpected repair,
it's an annoyance rather than a dire situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are a lot of people that are way beyond that probably could share the wealth with others. And not saying, but and again, increasing tax rates, closing loopholes, holding corporations accountable. You can make billion. There's no problem making $1 billion profit, but you need to be feeding back into the community so that everybody is doing well. Okay, so
there's no reason why the corporate tax rate should be lower than it was. One of the first things I would undo is that corporate damn tax rate, and the second is I would take off the cap on
Social Security. Yeah.
Here's the treats. Yeah, thank you, Andy. I just like Kakuna out.
Okay, so I want to address this one because this one's more specific to me. I saw a video of David on Life After Life channel report as pirated content, but they never seem to do anything, just an FYI. Okay, so a few months ago, this woman named Evelyn, who's over in Vietnam, invited me onto her channel, Life After Life NDE. Now, I've not had an NDE, but she was interviewing a lot of the tarot readers. So Linda G's on there, Marianne's on there. I believe Sterling did an interview with her, Dave Johnson. I did an interview with her. It lasted about an hour. And then that went up. And that was about 3 months ago or so. Evelyn emailed me saying that she had some technical difficulties with her Life After Life NDE channel, so she rebooted it as a Life After Life channel. So what you might be seeing there is the interview that I had originally done, and that was aired about 3 months ago, being re-aired on this new channel. So I haven't gone back to actually confirm that, but for the moment, please, you don't need to report it. I think it's actually a legit thing. Now, if it starts off, welcome back to Tarot by the Bay, I'm David, and now I'm doing a reading on Donald Trump's health issues, yeah, that's going to be a pirated video. But if it was just an interview of me telling you about myself, my journey, how I do my readings, okay, well, what do I see happening in the future with MAGA, that type of thing. That was her giving me questions, me answering those questions. She wanted me to repeat the question and then answer it. And she's edited herself out of the video. So I've had a number of people recently tell me about that.
Yeah, I got surprised once where all of a sudden I got a short that hit my feed and it was me. It was like, what? And it was from our Taco Tuesday with Marina. And she had clipped a bit and put it out as a short. And she didn't give me a heads up, and I was really surprised. Like, oh my God, I'm in a short.
Okay, question: will there be any fallout from the Hyundai raid in Georgia? A female candidate is claiming responsibility for calling ICE on these folks. Are you familiar with this story? So
yeah,
they're building a Hyundai plant in Georgia, and there was a major immigration raid, and they arrested like 300 or so South Korean workers there. And Korea announced that they're going to be bringing those workers back to Korea from Georgia. Now, Gary,
yes,
you've worked in the business world and finance.
Yes.
What do you think the delays are to that plant when they've just lost 350 workers, probably engineers, workers, and other specialists? Because I doubt these are just laborers they sent over there.
Yeah, I'd say you probably just set that thing back 3 to 6 months.
At least, if not years, because if these are, especially if these are not laborers, if these are technical people, and you have to hire engineers and programmers and things like that, that's not going to be as easy to fill, especially in Georgia.
Well, it'll
take you 3 to 6 months just to interview people. Let's get them up to speed.
Yeah, in my mind, it's like, okay, you're going to have to go start interviewing companies and entering into a contract with some engineering company or some construction company and bringing their workers on. And that's a process, and that's going to take some time to vet, to get through that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it might take you 3 months just to get the resumes closed out, much less bringing folks in to do the job. I'm looking at the story now. I'm not seeing what those the news stories don't tell you what the workers were, if they were technical folks, if they were laborers, what's going on. But you just delayed a manufacturing facility in your state, in the district you're running in. While you may get some votes because they're stealing the jobs, you're also preventing people from working the jobs that were going to be available on there. So I don't know if it's the flex they think it is.
My understanding was that a lot of the workers were on visitor visas, not work visas, and that's a problem. I mean, there's no reason that Hyundai should have screwed that up, or whoever hired those workers. That was a screw up on their part. Those folks should have had some sort of work visa set up, because you're not on a visitor visa. You're not allowed to work. They're pretty clear on that.
All right, well, let's look 4 cards. Looking at the fallout from this raid.
Fair enough. Fallout from that. Let me do a quick shuffle. Hopefully, I won't get any of my bikini cards.
Okay. I'll let you go first, but I've got my cards and my interpretation ready to go.
Okay, so what I've got is there was some confusion and misdirection. Don't believe everything that's going on. There might have been some sort of agreements that were had up front that are now all of a sudden people have forgotten, corporate amnesia. The main clarifier, hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. So the person that reported it, happy and smug as a bug.
Thank you. That's what I was getting from that.
So what's going to happen going forward? More, it depends. There's going to be some negotiations. We'll see how that goes. But there's going to be a lot of communications as to, you said this was okay, or we were informed that this was okay, and now someone basically sent us up the river, and it's time to sort of, understand how we're going to move this thing forward. That's what I'm getting.
Okay. What I'm getting from that is this is about the work and working. So it could very well be the woman. It's like, I'm fighting for the workers because I want their jobs. But you know what? Don't know what they're doing, and this is going to backfire. She's like, people. She didn't think this thing through. She's going to represent it as fighting for the workers. But this could be something where Hyundai says, well, you know what, maybe we won't do this plant after all, or they'll announce there's a big delay. And I think there's going to be a backlash that she hasn't seen come up yet. With Gary's reading, he had the Seven of Cups, the integrity card. Yeah, everything looks good now, but with his Wheel of Fortune, it's like, but let's see what happens when things start playing out. This looks good for her on the short term. This may be a real long-term fail on her part.
Oxford Cat had a really interesting comment. The comment is, Tabitha Speaks here on YouTube said the South Koreans were there to train Americans to use the high-tech machines.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Like, exactly. This will delay everything. And it's going to make things worse. But you know what? If you want to be all pump your chest, America, well, you go right ahead. But there are consequences for this.
Well, Chicagoans, is Trump in Chicago?
He said for sure he was sending troops there. I thought he backed away from that, but
is he doing that for sure? I know he keeps threatening to do that. Well, I think Chicago's they'll probably ride the federal court ruling that California got that basically said it was executive overreach sending the National Guard into Los Angeles. I can't imagine that they won't try and leverage that. But let's take a quick peek. Will Chicagoans kick Trump out? All right, so that's what I got. So you got the Ten of Wands. This is the big burden. This is, Trump's throwing a big burden on them.
Financial burden, because he never pays for the cops,
Yeah. Well, and the fact of the matter is, Chicago, is like most major cities, has the crime, and they got issues that they need to contend with. The main clarifier is the Three of Wands. looking out to the future, waiting for it's usually waiting for your ship to come in, but in this case, it's waiting for the troops to show up. They're hard at work behind the scenes to address the problems of crime and the criminal president. And then you've got the Queen of Swords, the truth that's out there, which is what I was alluding to earlier. Was there is now court decisions that more tightly define executive overreach in this situation. The energy underneath it, though, is Trump wants his legacy, and he's going to push it. So if he has announced it, I'm not surprised. If he hasn't announced that he's actually sending troops there and he keeps threatening it, because the last time I looked, it was still threatening, he's doing it because he wants his legacy.
Sweet P333 is saying the troops are in Chicago. Police are working with residents to block ICE.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so if we got those same cards with the troops already there, okay, so we got to get to work getting them out. Look at what actions we could take in the future to address this. Got to be hard at work, showing that we have this under control and that, we know what the truth is. Is that, basically we've got the ability to handle this. This is, we have to fight Trump's legacy, his battle for his legacy.
Candace is just giving you the answer what your Ten of Wands is.
What's that? Troops here. What can I say? Oh my gosh.
Well, they're going to make ICE's job as difficult as possible. Go back down to your spread.
What's so funny is that what's that?
I still haven't gone back down to your spread.
Oh, I thought I just did.
Oh, you put it away. Never mind.
That's right. I got it still. I hadn't shuffled the cards yet. So
to me, with what they're doing, it's kind of like, okay, let's make their job as difficult as possible. Mm-hmm. We're going to work together and predict where they're going to go next because they don't belong here. Plus, there's going to be court cases, and it's going to cost Chicago money or Illinois money, but they're going to make the federal government spend a bunch of money too and not get any value for their return on investment.
You know what's so ironic about using salt trucks is because nothing melts ice quite as
my salt truck. Yeah, the irony is not lost. Now, I'm not even going to throw on. I think your throw is more than good enough on that one. Let's see. We go down here. Commentary from Amy Saunders, or Sanders, as the case may be. I've seen it spelt both ways and pronounced both ways. I used to work for Hyundai making microchips in Eugene, Oregon. The city let a bunch of goofs chase them out, losing 1,300 jobs. As somebody who went to grad school in Eugene, Oregon, I believe the Hyundai chip plant probably was that the one that they brought in the early mid-90s? Getting any industry or jobs in Eugene is a great thing because Eugene is just, in Oregon in general, but Eugene also, they're fiercely proud about being underemployed. Like, if they have a factory that should employ 2,000 people and they can get it working with 1,000 people, for some reason they think that's a freaking badge of honor. It's really annoying because Eugene's a beautiful area, but it's hard to find work, good quality work, in that area. Let's see. This question been coming up. Will the Federal Reserve rate, actually she qualified that, cut interest rates 50 basis points?
Wow.
So the question is, when the Federal Reserve has their September 17th meeting, I believe they said they were expecting an interest rate cut.
Yes.
But the problem is core inflation went from 2.7 to 3.3%, I think. And you don't want to cut interest rates when core inflation is rising. If anything, you want to raise interest rates when that's happening to prevent, to keep inflation in that they like it to be about 2 to 2.5%, I believe is their target range. And now they're well above that. Yep. So let's see if they will change. Let's take a look. Will they even change interest rates? They might have to reverse course on that. What will the Fed do with interest rates? Up, there's my money card.
It's so funny. I just watched a Bella the Ranch where she was talking about this.
That's interesting. Got a reversal. I think they're still going to. They're going to do something that they wouldn't normally do. What I get from this is they're talking about the interest rates and what's happening and the world. It's like, the interest rates and taking the world. Now, the reversal is the Three of Swords. Normally, this would be a disappointment. Like, they wanted to cut it. Normally, they would want to cut it to, help people out and stuff like that. But in this case, this is failure to do what they need to do. So this is like, instead of betraying somebody, this is like giving somebody a gift. And here's the gift right here, even though they know better. So I suspect they're going to cut interest rates, even though they know it's a stupid idea, but they're doing it as a gift to Trump. That's what I'm getting from that. I don't think they should. I absolutely think they should leave them unchanged, if not raising them because of core inflation. Now, there's something to be said. If tariffs are all removed and that inflationary pressure is taken off, then they might be able to cut them, and maybe they'll cut them thinking that tariffs are going to be removed and that the economy is going to speed up a little bit, as well as inflationary pressure from tariffs is going to decrease.
So, like I
tariffs
mentioned,
are effing everything up in this country right now.
Oh yeah. On the Belle of the Ranch, of course, the jobs report came out, and the job creation is really poor, especially in manufacturing.
They had 20,000 new jobs added, but it was well under the expectations. And the Trumpers out there saying, well, every August for the last few years, they've always revised them up. So we expect them to revise them up again this time. But this is after Trump put in his lackey, who's going to give you the ridiculously optimistic numbers.
Exactly.
So what's it going to be?
There was also some discussion, and I haven't had a chance to verify it, but it was on Belle of the Ranch, so I'm going to take it as factual, is that there was a lot of shift away from full-time jobs to part-time jobs.
Great, because you don't have to pay.
Don't have to pay your benefits if you're working part-time. So the reading I've got is the foundation is the Empress. So looking out for the best, the Feds they have to do what's best for everyone in America. Energy underneath it, you got the Merchant, the hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. And then the two clarifiers, you got the Chariot and you got the Five of Cups, the sorrow, and underneath the Devil. So the Fed's trying to do what they feel is best for the United States. They've got a lot of economists that are working on this stuff. The problem is inflation is not going away. It keeps moving forward. And they're not happy about the situation they're in. And they're getting a lot of pressure from the devil, in this case, our dear leader, to cut interest rates. And they know it's not in the best interest of the people because inflation keeps going. So the clarifier, I just want a clarifier on this. They got to find a balance. So in this case, I'm kind of on Dave's page here. I think there's going to be some sort of rate reduction. If it's 50 basis points, it's 50 basis points. But they're going to do something to get Trump off their freaking back. But they're not going to do anything really aggressive because they want to find that balance between keeping the jobs going and throwing us into a stagflation type situation.
And stagflation is not where you want to be. Think late 1970s.
Yes.
And fuel lines and double-digit inflation with double-digit unemployment and everything that was going on with that. Some non-questions. Oh, that's not what I wanted to put in there. Here we go.
Hi, Marina.
I was living in Eugene, 1976. Professors didn't even accept women in science at the U of O. Hope it's changed. Carrie, it absolutely has. I was in grad school in the mid-90s, and there were a lot of the Department of Molecular Biology professors were women, and it was easily a 50-50 split of grad students in the program that were women. It might even be more women than men, especially on the biology side. In the class I was in, it had sort of the chemistry side, biochemistry side versus biology side, and there were more women in the biology side than chemistry. What else? Carrie, I went to graduate school at the U of O too. I did too. I loved it there. It was funny when you're walking into campus and it's like, wait a minute, that's the building where the horse went down the stairs in Animal House, because they shot Animal House in Eugene. And the University of Oregon was Faber College. And Carrie, throw something in the comments if you are quite familiar with a lovely establishment named Prince Puckler's. When Gary and I went up to Washington last year, or it was maybe almost 2 years ago now, to purchase the Miata that we bought in Washington, we had dinner in Eugene, and we went to the East 19th Street pub and had food there. And I went to go get ice cream at Prince Puckler's, and Gary, being the giant dork, he decided not to opt in, and boy, did he miss out. Green cherry ice cream on a waffle cone with Euphoria dip, you will love your life. That's all I got to say for that.
I do remember going to Prince Puckler's.
Try talking him into it. I think you went in because they had pictures of Obama. I think Obama ordered like a mint chocolate chip ice cream or something like that. Let's see. What do we have here? Will Trump declare marital law?
No. And the I and the T reverse there.
Melania, we're going to go to war. Will he declare martial law? Well, he had the pillow guy walking around with a martial law thing the first time around near the end of it. We'll see. I mean, part of this, I think, is how far can he push the National Guard to do stuff? And that kind of will set up his decision if he can get away with martial law or not. I see Gary's got his cards out there.
Yeah. Okay, will he declare martial law? I mean, it's more of the timing of it, right? So the foundation is the Six of Pentacles. Understanding I've got lots of resources around me, and I need to. It's kind of give a little, take a lot type of thing. It's also giving back. And then underneath it, you got so I'm not sure what that means. And then underneath it, you got the Three of Wands, looking out towards the future, looking what's coming ahead. You got celebrations. You've got your Page of Cups, which is, the MAGA crazy. But underneath it, you've got Judgment. I would not, you could knock me over with a feather if you told me that he was going to declare it as his candidacy was coming to an end, especially if the Republicans do not win the election. If the Republicans don't win the election, it's like, obviously there was election interference. The people I need to pay off some judges here. My future is not going to look bright once I'm out of office. It's assuming his health is good enough to make it 4 years. We don't want the Democrats celebrating their victory. We want the MAGA to continue. And so I'm going to blow my horn and see if people are willing to accept a martial law situation. It wouldn't surprise me. The cards to me would indicate that it's entirely possible. But I also don't think he's going to be in a position to make that decision in 4 years. So that's my whole decision. Even though I know you didn't say 4 years, I don't see how he can declare martial law, because there's nothing that's going on in the United States now that would justify it. Not that he isn't.
There you go. Thank you. Waiting for that qualification.
He's more than willing to break the rules or set the standard set the bar to a new low. But
since when does he need justification for not doing anything, for doing something illegal?
And I think what the judgment card is, it's probably the courts coming out and saying, no, or lawsuits coming out saying, no, you don't have the power to do this, and the people standing up to.
What I get is he's fighting from a position of disadvantage. It was actually another reversal. I've fixed my deck. Well, it's like, you're reaching out to people, trying to collect on favors, doing things with MAGA, Kristi Noem type things here. But I don't think he'll be able to declare martial law. He just doesn't have the leg to stand on. Now, an interesting thing that comes up, and this goes to a reading Sterling once did, that he kept saying that Trump would try to declare martial law like in a place like Texas. Now, it's one thing to declare, sending the National Guard to blue states. That's just red meat for the base type thing. But if you're going to declare martial law, the first place you want to declare it or test declaring it is in a state that's friendly to you, because it shows you the best case outcome. If you declared martial law in New York or California or Massachusetts or someplace like that, there's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people out protesting. But if you do it in a deep red state, like let's say Oklahoma, or someplace like that where they're big Trumpers, how are they going to take to it? If they don't like it and that's your base, well, you better not do it anywhere else, because if they're going to protest against you, it's just a really, really bad idea. Follow-up. Will we have a peaceful transition of power after the 2028 U.S. presidential election? I want to say that if he was going to declare martial law, he would do it after the 2026 election. Either try to do it before and prevent voting, or after it to prevent Democrats from taking over Congress. That sort of thing. That's, like, again, assuming he's alive and healthy enough to be the president of the United States at that point. Will there be a peaceful transition of power? Well, let's see.
Oh,
Gary's seeing another September 6th, January 6th, eh?
My God, this is the it's kind of the best of times, worst of times, right? Here we go. Okay, so the question just is, will we have a peaceful transition of power? Okay, so I've got talk about a dichotomy here. You've got a choice. Trump is going to want to hold on for dear life.
If he's alive and healthy enough to be the president of the United States.
Yes, exactly. It really comes down to his health. Of course, we also read this card as holding on to your ethics and values.
Yeah.
Right. And then
that's where I was going with it.
Yeah, the two clarifiers I got, we've got the happy family, and then we've got the end of the cycle or the actual physical death. And energy underneath it is the Nine of Wands, that you're getting ready to fight the penultimate battle. I don't think it's out there. I think basically is you have a choice.
Yeah, but who's the you have a choice?
The pronoun.
It's the Republicans. This has everything to do with the Republicans and conservative media.
Right.
Because remember, think about this. If the Republicans in 2020 had said, "Yep, Donald Trump lost the election and we're not going to contend with it," stolen election, the fighting and the rioting that go with it, and the cause that Trump brought up, if the Republicans say, yep, we lost the election, we accept the election results, it's over with. There'll be a lot of grumbling on MAGA's side, but it'll be done with. If they don't choose that.
Yeah. So what I wanted to clarify on who has the choice. And here we go. The election, you've got stolen election. It's going to create chaos, but a truth is going to come out.
You just, okay, so if you just said who's got the choice, you just described the Republican Party circa the fall to winter of 2020, winter of 2021.
Yeah, so what I'm feeling, what I'm getting from this is I don't think the Republicans are going to fare well, either if it's 2026 or 2028. I mean, the question was 2028, but I was kind of open-minded as that. The election's not going to go well. Trump's going to say it was stolen.
If he's alive or healthy enough to be the president.
Exactly. That's, or, you know, the insinuation from someone is going to be it was stolen. It's going to create chaos, but a truth is going to come out from this. So is there going to be a peaceful transition of power? The Ace of Swords gives me hope that basically they're going to go through the same BS that they went through in 2020, but it's going to get cut down. So my feeling is, after sort of marinating with this, is that the Republicans are going to say no. They're going to shut down the bullshit talk that it was stolen, and there will be a peaceful transition of power. But they're going to do their best to not. And then
wealthy people or oligarchs with corruption underneath are going to bring a new action. Ace of Swords, again, like Gary got a commitment to something in agreements. It's almost as if, to me, it looks like big money has decided that maybe they're going to go with Democrats. So, you know, if it's oligarchs, if it's your, basically the oligarchs are going to dictate how things go with this. Because, you know, it's like Zuckerberg with Facebook. Do you prevent inflammatory posts from going on there? Elon Musk and various other folks that maybe adjusted the votes. The Rupert Murdochs or Lachlan Murdochs of the world with right-wing conservative media. How are they going to broadcast it? This is where money sort of drives the political narrative in this country, because they control the levers of power and communication. And until we really develop critical thinking skills, if we continue to just listen to what the media tells us and fall like blind sheep, well, then they will continue to tell us how to act and react to things. That's kind of where I sort of see things going with it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I hope Sterling's right.
Or Carter, is Sterling right?
Oh, one Carter.
You can do it one Carter.
Well, one Carter. Oh, this is funny. We almost got the same card.
Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll offer it and they'll slow walk it.
Yeah.
Let me hide this one.
Ooh, yeah, great question.
Answer: probably not so good.
That was kind of the answer. That's Gary the analyst would say. I bet you they've had happier times harvesting those crops.
There are a lot of things coming up on my TikToks about people talking about the farmers basically saying they don't want handouts, but they want customers to buy their stuff, and the tariffs are making the cost of their goods they sell too expensive. So the world's going to Brazil. China, after Trump jacked China around the first time, China went, and I remember watching somebody put up a broadcast on this. China, it was probably Mr. Global. China went to Brazil and signed a bunch of trade agreements with Brazil to make Brazil their number one exporter of pork and soybeans. Mm-hmm. And so Brazil ramped up pork and soybean production so that when we get the situation we have now where Trump's putting in gazillion-dollar tariffs, China's like, yeah, F you. We got our contracts with Brazil. We don't need your stuff. And then who pays the price? American farmers.
Yeah. So how are the farmers doing regarding harvest with the loss of workers? So this is kind of an ICE-based question.
Yes, it is.
So the actions continue to move forward. The main clarifier is, it's one of those things, ready, fire, aim situations. You just think before you act. These actions should have required more thought.
Yeah.
But Trump had his legacy. He wanted to be known as the law and order president. But what the farmers are looking for is a bit more balance on this. This isn't what they thought they were getting when they voted for him.
Yep.
And, they may get some subsidies back, but they're going to lose big money. I think the farmers are going to be in a kind of a tough situation, at least this harvest season.
The last time we did this, the government came in and bailed them out. Gary Sprague tells me the government's going to come in and bail them out.
Yeah, that's all those tariffs that they threw at China for soybeans and stuff. It went back to the farmers to subsidize them for all the crops that they couldn't sell.
For me, I'm getting how I think it's going to go for them, that they lost their labor force, declining profits, declining revenue. This is what you wanted. Next time, think about what you're going to get, what you're going to do. The cruelty to others. They want the handout. But guess what? Trump's not feeling like he's in a real handout mood. It's really funny because on the one hand, he needs the support of farmers to keep the Republicans supported so that he can have the House and Congress in 2026. On the other hand, he doesn't want to give the money back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the you're on your own type of thing here. Maybe because what that will allow are large corporations. You've heard about corporate farmers, or Jeff Bezos and company. They come in and buy the farmland.
Yep.
And then the farmers basically become, not quite, but basically become indentured servants. So think of us going backwards. Instead of, you have plantations with a rich landowner, plantations, and slaves working it. You're going to have the Jeff Bezoses are now the wealthy landowners or the plantation owners. All their farms are now the plantations, and the free farmers who would have come out of slavery owning their own small farms so they can subsist, they're going backwards, and they're now becoming the indentured servants of the slaves working the land for the really wealthy. Congratulations. Slow clap. Way to go, bro. You didn't learn about history, and now it's coming back to bite you in the behind. I'm not saying I'm rooting for that, but it's kind of like what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where Gary was going with it as well.
Absolutely.
Cindy Grogan not only wants to see you do the sprinkler.
Oh, the sprinkler?
But when and how will Epstein survivors release their list? Well, first off, you have to have an if. And it could be the threat of releasing the list. Could go back to where's the Sterling question? Yeah. That probably relates to that. Republicans have passed the bill to release the Epstein files. We both just read on that one. I do think that I don't know if they'll release the list. Let's just do. Will they release the list? One card.
One card?
One card. I'm going to pull it from the middle. 4 wands. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to create all sorts of
when they and it could be that 4 wands is they don't release it to prevent the mayhem, but if they do release it, all hell's going to break loose. Mm-hmm. And it could be that the Republicans vote to release the files to prevent the list from being released. It really is the power move by these women to come up with the threat of a list, because you've got a choice. You could control the narrative or lose control of the narrative. It's like you could control the narrative under the the assumption that they're going to release the names on a list, at least you can control how things go out. Or you could take the chance and think, okay, they're never going to release this list, so we aren't going to play ball with you. But if they do release that list, you've lost. The monster is rampaging the countryside. You don't stand a chance. I'm gonna go look at more questions here.
Oh, and in honor of Philip Ehrman, for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
Yes, Philip was asking how important is it for these channels to say for entertainment purposes only, and that's what Marino's.
Yeah, part of it is lawsuits. It's trying to protect yourself from lawsuits, defamation lawsuits. Now, the part of the defamation is one of the defenses is that you truly believe what you're saying is true. That's one of the defenses. It's hard to say reading tarot cards what's true or what's not true. It's an interpretation of a nebulous situation. So if you throw in there for entertainment purposes only, we're not trying to be malicious.
Yeah.
On this one, it's like, here's the situation. Here's how we feel about it. Here's how we can interpret cards to say yes or no. The way we feel about it is accurate.
Yeah, it's also, I know on a lot of the channels where they're giving financial, they're not giving it financial advice, but like it's like, hey, can you retire on $2 million if you're 55? Unless you know that person's specific situation, you cannot really give a fiduciary type level of advice. So
Milani is the type that will go after creators like us because she's kind of petty like that.
And she's got the resource.
Yeah, she learned from the school of Trump, just bury anybody, big or small, and send the message out. Yeah. Connie B's been lurking. I think the ladies should give it to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then she reads out the names on YouTube or TikTok. She wouldn't do it on YouTube or TikTok. You have to do it on the congressional floor, because then they're protected by the debates clause. So she can't be sued for releasing those names. But one Carter, will they give it to Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because that's the big threat. Marjorie Taylor Greene's got no fucks to give on this one. She'll do it in a second because she is the ultimate chaos agent. Yeah, Gary's got the F around and find out. In the heartbreak and betrayal card. Should they give it to her? Will they? Heartbreak and betrayal. It depends. If let's say Marjorie Taylor Greene is like betrays them. Maybe she wants the list so that she could curate. She'd only read half the list. But I think if they gave it to her, Marjorie Taylor Greene would be toxic. The Republican Party would boot her out at that point as a betrayal to them.
To me, I see that as heartbreak and betrayal as these are people in power that betrayed the trust of the people.
Yeah.
And she's going to shine a light on those people, regardless. Because remember in the past, when they were talking about Matt Gaetz and his bad antics, she made the comment about, well, if we're going to expose Matt Gaetz, why don't we expose everybody? And that got all the Republicans shifting uncomfortably in their chairs. So I think she's probably got an idea that the roots of this run deep in probably both political parties, but especially the Republicans. Yeah, it's hard to argue that.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Again, the tarot cards are a focus. It's to help you put. Gary and I, Libby calls herself a storyteller reader, and I think Gary and I would put ourselves in that same category. We ask a question, and then we use the cards to act like stepping stones to create a narrative around it. Instigator official brings up saying that people see what they want to see. Yeah, there's a lot of bias that can be in there. And Gary and I actually, certainly I acknowledge I have a bias on that. And that's mostly because I don't put my cards in willy-nilly in my deck so that they typically don't come up as reversals, which means that I assign the energy. Now with Donald Trump, I typically do not assign the higher vibrational energy of the cards. I often give him the reversals or the low energy because generally speaking, that's where he lives.
Yeah, you're playing the odds.
Yes. And would that come across as bias? Absolutely it would. And if you go to right-wing tarot channels, I've seen 1 or 2 readings on a right-wing tarot channel, and it drives me, but I can't last a minute or two because I'm looking at their spreads and their interpretation, and it drives me bananas how they interpret things like that.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, since it's interpretation of the cards, that's probably the single hardest thing is to fight off whatever bias or wish casting you may have, because we all have our own internal right and wrong and good and bad and how things should work, and it's sometimes very difficult to turn that off when you're doing this. But what I think with tarot, and Dave was touching on it, is it becomes a thought exercise. I've had a couple of readings that have done quite well, but I went in not knowing what direction this reading was going to go, and it started making me think. It's like, okay, well, what is this card telling me? And it was very interesting, the direction. It was a direction I just had no idea that I was going to be going down.
And that does happen on occasion. And when it does, typically we'll narrate. It's like, I didn't see that one happen. And boy, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's the 2 readings I could think of right off the top of my head is one is the Trump era coming to an end, and what are the signs that happen immediately preceding it. And both of those were just like, okay, I'm just open to what the cards are going to tell me and just go from there. And I got flamed by the MAGA people because the
it is funny when our videos make it into the conservative side of YouTube, because it's just one of those things where they hear stuff that they've not heard before, and you could say, well, that's kind of you're contradicting yourself, David, because you say when you watch a right-wing tarot reader. But it's the right-wing tarot readers that were talking about how Hillary Clinton had an ankle bracelet, ankle monitor on. It's like, are you for freaking real? It's like, that's easily verifiable that she doesn't have one. And if that's your core thing you're starting with, it was basically a QAnon channel. If that's what you're starting with, I can't even take you seriously.
Yeah. And, to kind of take that one step further.
By the way, Instagram just says he loves us anyways.
No worries. I was not taking any offense at all. There are a group of people that watch these channels on both sides that really like the conspiracy stuff, the stuff that's way out there. And
I've got a TikTok to share with you. It was called MAGA Libs. So it's like ad libs for MAGA.
Oh my gosh. And Dave and I try really, really hard to not, keep it within one standard deviation. We don't want to go 3 or 4 standard deviations off the mean, because you can really get out in the weeds with some of this stuff. And we're trying to be entertaining but informative, and we don't want to give anyone false hope or have any of our audience show up at a damn pizza parlor with a freaking shotgun looking for the secret traffic door to
the trap door to the basement for the trafficked kids. Exactly.
Yeah. That, man, for entertainment purposes only, is not going to protect you from that.
Exactly. Tarot's a parlor game. Take the Knight of Pentacles. One person sees I'm all set up, but others see she has everything in the world except someone to share it with. There are so many interpretations for the cards. If you ever to look up the definitions, I've never memorized all the definitions. I don't really have the mental bandwidth anymore to have all that information in my head. I'm lying. I could do it.
Those are both very valid interpretations of that card.
And that's where the intuition part comes in. And I've seen this comment come up too. It's like, well, you just said your opinion, and then you threw the cards just to justify your opinion. the opinion is taking the news and taking your intuition as the interpretation. The cards are kind of look at the energy and saying, am I right or am I missing something? And I mean, as a fun little game I play, I will listen to Sterling's shows and I will guess the answer before he does. It's like, question number 93, because goddamn, Sterling answers a lot of questions on his show. It's like, Sterling, I was driving home one day and I lost 2 hours. Next thing I knew, I was 30 minutes past my stop. Was I abducted? And, and I will try to answer the questions, predict what Sterling will say before he does it. And it's a fun game to play. And I'm right way more than I'm wrong on that one. Now, the thing with Sterling is that he'll give you the yes or no answer, but then he'll give you 3 to 4 sentences explaining what he is. I'm not at his level when it comes to that. By the way, I've had readings with Sterling years ago. Michelle's had a couple with him since then. He's expensive, but he's every bit as good as you would expect him to be. Bring a lot of questions with you because he's got that sort of executive answer thing. He gives you the answer, 2 to 3 sentences supporting it, and then he's ready for the next question. He doesn't have diarrhea of the mouth like I do. Just going on and on and on.
Yay! Woo! Thank you, Lucy Rodriguez. Cheers.
Let's see, what else do we have there?
I'm gonna have to reload the beer.
YouTube must not like my opinions. I'm totally blocked from donations. Huh.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Maybe
you're not donating enough. Hit that $1,000 donation. See what happens. No, don't you dare. And it's funny. And Gary, how many lives do you watch? Do you ever watch like Linda G's lives or Linda with Mel or Sterling's show or anything like that? I don't think you typically do you?
It depends. A lot of times the lives come on when I'm at work. So,
well, I mean, do you watch it on YouTube later? Like if you're walking and just listening to stuff, or you just annoy the cats in the neighborhood?
I need to be physically sitting down. I don't listen to YouTube when I'm walking or driving.
Okay.
But I will catch some of Marina's stuff. I've caught some of Linda G's stuff. Gerald, I'll catch some of his stuff just because it'll pop up on my feed. And it's like, oh, Gerald's live. It's like I got back, I came back from lunch a little early, and Gerald's half an hour into his live, and you just hop in, say hi and listen to what's going on.
That's really well, you're doing private sessions. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see. Back to here. The 5th channel I can't donate. Oh, but where I was going with that is that I was for a number, not so much now because I just don't have the time, but I was a complete tarot and intuitive whore on YouTube. I would catch Dr. Lena's readings, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, Linda G and Mel, Kirsten Langston with Third Eye Champagne, Becca, the Empress, Beneath the Waves, I believe is Dweller Beneath the Waters over in Europe. She's actually, I was kind of looking through. No, I would listen to all the ones that you listen to. I listen to as well, and I don't do it as much anymore. Libby, when she was coming on, just because I just don't have the time. Plus, then it's like if it's something I want to read on, I try not to get biased because they will absolutely bias me if I listen to them.
Absolutely.
Now, that being said, one of my favorites was Dweller Beneath the Waters, and she was actually one of the first ones to do it. I went looking through all my subs to see when people jumped on because Dr. Lena, I think, was one of the first ones I really paid attention to. And I think from there, Marianne, Rosie, she had all sorts of different channel names. But when I looked at the actual starting dates, Anna, who's I think she's in Romania, Joella Beat the Water. She was the first one. She was on there before the elections, posting stuff up. I'm sure there's some that were before her, but of the ones I've watched, she was the one that was around the longest. And it's like by watching those shows, you catch Rose Blue's name and the various other people posting up on those shows. So when Gary and I started doing lives where I see comments, I see Rose Blues in my comments, like, holy smokes! I feel like I'm in the club.
Yes,
she
right,
posts up on Linda G, and she posts up on Mel, and now she's on my page too. I feel like I made it. So don't underestimate the power of your comments and
there are definitely
the impact on the readers over there, because we pay attention. We're fans too.
Absolutely. It's so funny because as Dave pointed out, there are certain people in the comments section. I'll be watching Marina's videos and there'll be a whole bunch of people's like, oh, I totally recognize artist Liz is out there, or just Anne from Canada, just you see, or Sunflower Down Under, now Rebecca from Oz. You see these people and they're popping in and out of a whole bunch of the different comments from the live streams, and we're all fans of each other. I truly enjoy seeing the names I recognize in the comments section. Like Mangal's been out in France with his wife, so he hasn't been in the comments for the last week or two, and he posted a comment on yesterday's video, and it was so nice to see him again. It's just like, wow, I missed you. How you been?
There'll be times when I see like Dan Artist Painter come up, and I read his name in Milu's voice, because I think that's where I first saw him showing up on there.
Yay! Thank you so much. Guerra means war. Cheers.
Now you got a big one. Leslie wants you to.
Leslie, thank you so much. Oh, I guess this is going to call for the dinosaur dancing.
Leslie, what dog is that? The tan with the nose. I can't tell if it's like a boxer or a kitty
like
mix.
A boxer. It's kind of got that underbite.
It's hard to say. That's the problem with thumbnails. They're hard to see.
Yay, Teresa. Hi,
Thank
Teresa.
you very much. Appreciate it.
I recognize Teresa from the comment section. JB188. Hi from Sydney, Australia. Well, howdy. G'day.
Exactly.
Good morning.
Early in the morning for you. Sorry.
Very early in the morning. Was it like 7 in the morning? No, maybe it's 8 in the morning.
Okay.
I guess it depends where in Australia you are. Oh, Sydney. Okay, that's the East Coast.
I don't know if Jennifer. I think she's just sending love. Sending love to our Australian fans.
Yay.
Let's see, anything else that's going on in here? Yes, Cindy. It is a great community.
Cindy, you are so right about that. One of the first things I noticed when I first started
dragged you in kicking and screaming into this realm.
And so I was
he was doing the Daffy Duck, holding up on the screen.
What impressed me was how supportive the community is of each other. The readers helping each other out.
Yes, very much so. It's not a competition between us. It really is.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, well, if they win, I lose. It's really very supportive. And it's one of the things I know Marina had a live and I came on and I was sharing that. But I truly feel that way. It's a very supportive community. There's no daggers out to undermine someone else's channel. That's all right. My mom's been trying to explain this to our friends to her friends for years.
No, I'm assuming she's talking about us as opposed to the community in general, but yes.
Cindy, I'd say the best way to explain us or to describe us, and this was Dave's idea when we were putting the channel together.
Oh, yeah.
Is describe us as the click and clack of tarot reading.
Yeah, because that was it gets hard sometimes because you really get into the reading and you forget about the jokes and the snark and stuff like that. Certainly, we could be snarkier, and have more fun. But it's such heavy times right now. It's hard to really focus the sarcasm. Now, that being said, sometimes things are so stupid that it's easy to bring the sarcasm. And the thing with sarcasm and poking fun at scary things is it makes them less scary. It undermines, like Trump does not like being laughed at because it undermines his intimidation factor. What are we looking at here?
I have to move opposite of the clock. No, I can't do it.
Oh, are you trying to move?
I was trying to go with the cat, but it moves opposite of the way I think I'm supposed to move, so it's really tough to do. But thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. I'll do a better job next time.
I miss him too. It was sad when Tommy died.
No, Ray died.
No, it was Tommy.
Oh, Tommy died. You're right. Tommy died.
And Ray didn't want to do the show anymore because it wasn't the same without his brother on.
Oh no, yeah. There's absolutely, that's, if you were going to call it, that's the one you call it.
But you can still go on YouTube, and they have whole episodes on YouTube.
Oh, they were so much fun.
I used to, living in the East Bay and driving across the bay to get my haircut, I would schedule my haircut so that I could listen to Click and Clack on my, it was like an hour drive.
Yeah.
So I would schedule a haircut at like 11 o'clock, and I would be on the road from 10 to 11 so I could catch the whole show going to the barber. And then I could listen to the last half of Wait, Don't Tell Me on the drive home.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave and I, early in the channel, we had talked about doing a segment kind of like Stump the Chumps, where we would go back and look at a reading and see how we did.
Yeah, but then you actually have to go back and listen to yourselves.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's terrible. I know, she's terrible, isn't she? Mom's got so many burner accounts. You think at 90 she'd have something better to do with her life.
Yeah, you know, I'm surprised she isn't out there right now, because she asked me, so are you and your brother going to record tomorrow?
Gets a nice shopping.
And I always forget that she's got all those burner accounts, and it might not just be the sweet 90-year-old asking her son if
something
he's doing.
Innocuous.
Yeah, she's definitely the wheels turning and the fingers going together like Montgomery Burns. Excellent.
It is hard to watch them all.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
And like I used to listen to Next Level Soul podcast and NDE radio, and I just haven't caught any of those episodes because it's just, I'm spoiled for choices when I drive to work. Usually when I'm listening is I'm driving to work in my car, and sometimes I just have to listen to music because it's too heavy and I need the break. And I'll go get into a mood if I don't switch it up. So, and I feel bad because it seems like I think Libby watches us when she works out. Oh, when she's on the elliptical, she's probably watching videos, and I don't get to watch nearly as many of hers as she watches of mine and Gary's, and she puts a lot of comments out there, and I feel like I'm a bad friend for not reciprocating. But it's just, again, it's only so many hours in the day and times for me to actually to watch. But I really, really enjoy Libby, and I love the fact that her channel just absolutely blew up.
Yeah, and she's earned it. She's very good at what she does.
It's kind of like we had that original wave of readers, and then like another wave that came. If we were the second wave of readers, she's like in the forefront, leading the charge of the second wave. If we're not the third wave, but that follow up wave of folks.
I'm assuming I'm assuming that we're into the since we've done an hour, we're into the just ask us anything about ourselves.
We're not answering tarot related questions. We're just chit chatting. Ask us any questions that you want.
Yeah, we'll answer.
This is hilarious. I mean, you're kind of like when the Crips and the Bloods, assuming this is true from Rose Blue, when the Crips and the Bloods can have a common enemy, it's like, you know what? Instead of us killing each other, let's go after these motherfuckers. It's like, dude, how unpopular are you that you can cause gangs that have been like the Hatfields and McCoys to go after you? Good Lord.
There was a question very early on about when Dave started reading. He started doing tarot. Was that in 2022 or 2021?
When I started?
Yeah.
I think it was like December of 22.
Okay. Yeah, so Dave's been doing it for coming on 3 years. I would say that my kids, if they see me doing tarot, like to poke fun at me. But when David does it, they really are into it.
Yeah. His are way more open. Mine, they think I'm crazy. They both think I'm crazy, and this is just BS. Nothing like loving support from your children on this one.
Yeah, they really like Dave's. Like my daughter she'll reach out to Dave and say, "Are you bringing your tarot cards? Because I want to ask some questions."
Yeah.
But yeah, if
much
I was
kinder to me than my family.
Dave has a lot more street cred than their old man does.
That's because you're dad. You don't know anything.
Exactly. What are your day jobs? I work for local government and finance.
And I work in the pharmaceutical industry in quality. So,
how did you get into quality?
I've been doing it the whole time. You know, it's the job nobody wanted, so I got it.
It's just ironic.
My job does looking at data. I read reports now that my direct reports write, and making sure that everything's documented properly. Have we done a root cause analysis at problems to see if we've addressed what's causing the problem? It's really a lot of puzzle piecing put together, and this stuff is just kind of like my interest in solving puzzles and getting bits of data and putting together a narrative. It feeds right into this. Now, that being, I work with a bunch of scientists and such. And generally speaking, the folks in my group are extremely supportive. They know I do this, and they're very supportive of it. And like if we have a team building thing, they want me to bring cards and do readings for people on that.
Yes.
So, but my kids, I'm just an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, Dave, as a shameless plug, are you going to be on what's the channel you were doing? Hogarth, yes, thank you. Are you going to be with Hogarth?
Yeah, I think so.
With Hogarth, he comes on at like 4. Is it 4 o'clock? He comes on.
Yeah, 4 o'clock Pacific time.
Yeah, so I'm able to catch like maybe 15 or 20 minutes if I'm wrapping up at work, and I remember that Dave's on it. It's fascinating to watch that.
I might be on in September or October. I'll have to go back and check emails to see if he sent me an invite on that one. But I think he's going to have me on again. I just don't know when. He's doing a nice job of bringing in a bunch of different readers. Mm-hmm. So you don't stagnate with just the same 3 people on there. He's just cycling people in and out, which is also good because it gives the regular readers a break, and then they can be fans as opposed to being on stage.
Right on, Libby. Yeah. So, what
when we were younger,
doing,
yes.
What we were doing here is we have a bunch of birthdays in July and August, especially August in our family. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I come right off the top of my head. So Laura and I would host the August birthdays. So yeah, I guess in that case we would celebrate our birthday together. But it's not like Dave and I talk to each other and say, "Oh, well, we got to plan our birthday together." It takes our wives to make it happen.
Yeah. But when we were younger, probably like in our 20s and 30s, yeah, we would even 40s, we would go out of our way to make sure we were meeting up.
How do you keep up? Oh. Yeah, that's the toughest part.
Yeah.
Is because I would just love to just bury my head in the sand and go la 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 and make it all go away and just not wade through that cesspool of crap that we've been going through since January. But it's just you got to get out there and read and watch and just try and absorb what you can. Find sources that I think Bell of the Ranch, formerly Beau of the Fifth Column, for me is one of the best sources because they tend to give it to you straight.
Yeah.
And it's the least triggering. I also like to read AP and Reuters because they hit them right up the center all the time.
I wish my dad did this. This has been amazing. My dad would never do anything like this. Yeah, mine either.
Yeah, I know, that's totally. Someone had asked a question about if anyone else in the family has the tarot gift. And frankly, I'd say the answer is yes. I think every single person that is watching this has the tarot gift. It's something we can all do. It's just a question of getting familiar with the cards, practicing, and then just opening your mind to it and saying, okay, what's my interpretation of it? Because it becomes a real thought exercise. Hi, Delia. Greetings from Germany. It's almost Oktoberfest. I hear you, Delia. We're coming out in 2 weeks from Tuesday. Woohoo!
Yeah, but it's kind of fun when other people's parents do that. But once your own parents, God, if mom and dad were doing that, we would roll their eyes too.
Oh my God! Well, Dad would have had the Hillary Clinton ankle. He would have been, yeah, that's right. She probably does.
Now, that being said, our paternal grandmother, likely had the gift. Mom was actually sharing that with me the other day.
Oh, really?
About grandma knew what mom was thinking on her wedding day.
Oh,
and
wow.
She was sharing that with me on that one. And
so grandma knew mom was thinking, holy shit, what the hell did I get myself into?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And one of mom's cousins from mom's side of the family was talking about how some of the sisters had this gift as well. Now there are some Italian families that the mothers or the grandmothers had their tarot cards, did reading, and have little social things with their friends. We had nothing like that growing up. So it's just interesting how things sort of pan out or don't pan out. Don't do pendulum. I have never practiced with the pendulum. I'd be too afraid that I'd be, first off, no dexterity whatsoever. I've never played. But pendulums are great for yes or no questions. So are dowsing rods. It's their job. So now, I look at my parents and some things they did still don't make sense.
So Eva J, I put our Gmail account there. She had something she wanted to send prior to the Oktoberfest. So it's in the chat. It's Twin Tarot Talk at Gmail. We try not to advertise it too much because Dave and I are busy enough, and if I'm busy enough answering comments. I'm putting a couple hours a day minimum into answering comments. If I start getting the same load in emails, my wife will never see me again.
That's really cool, Tina. I've got a Lenormand deck. I haven't opened it up and played with it. And explained this deck to Gary once before. He probably doesn't know what it is. It's basically like tarot cards, but there's no interpretation. The cards mean what the cards mean. So it's kind of like it gives you very direct answers to your questions, as opposed to it's very left brain versus right brained as far as that goes.
I wonder if those were created in Germany. The Germans, they have rules, man. There's a rule, you follow it. There's no interpretation. You do what you're told. It was a lot of work, yeah. We record 7 videos a week for this channel, and then Dave does at least that many on his tarot.
Yeah, I typically before when I first started, once I got monetized, I tried to figure out what I wanted to do, and I put up 2 videos a day on my channel. And then I opened up an international channel because I felt like international news wasn't really covered. But the folks on my channel weren't that interested in international news, so I created an international channel. So at one point I was doing 3 readings a day. And then for the international channel, I started slowing down and maybe doing 3 readings a week, but I was doing 2 readings a day on this one. And then when Gary and I started, I was doing, we were doing like a reading a day for the twin channel, 2 readings on this one and the international channel. I suspended the international channel because I was just ignoring it. And even with this one, I was doing 2 a day until right after the election. And I was just so discouraged with how things turned on the election that I really cut back to 1 reading a day because that's about all I could really handle. And even with the twin channel, I'll get about 4 readings or 5 readings with Gary, but Gary often does a couple of solo readings during the week.
Yeah, just trying to take the load off.
I don't have the gas anymore to do it. And it's exhausting trying to do like 6 or 7 readings in a day.
Yeah.
Because each one of them is about 20 minutes to half an hour long and 15 minutes of prep time. So if we could literally spend 5 to 6 hours trying to do a week's worth of work on the weekend, and you've lost one of your weekend days doing that.
And then on top of that, we're doing every other Tuesday we're doing a live with Marina, and Dave's got other live streams that he's doing as well. So yeah, it's definitely, you're dedicated to it.
Oh, here we go. You were right.
Hey, that makes sense. It's only from my experience going to Germany and having worked and had German people as friends. Yeah, there's a process and you follow it. Yay!
Let us know that you listen to us in the morning, first cup of coffee. Libby was the first one who kind of clued me into this. She referred to them as, coffee readings. People get up in the morning and listen and drink their coffee and listen to us. And when I started looking at the statistics for our readings, because you can do that, we'll get a spike at midnight. It's for the folks that want to catch it, and then it drops down until about 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern time, and then it spikes up again as the folks on the East Coast watch. Then Central Time, Mountain Time, West Coast time. So there's usually a 4-hour window of where we get our most views.
Yeah.
And it's people waking up in the morning. And I do apologize for folks that sometimes I'll say stuff that is distasteful and I don't give you a warning on it. And it can really make that mouthful of coffee taste sour. It usually involves like Trump and what he might look like without clothes on or something. Like
yeah. You need a public service announcement before you throw that out there. Jennifer Babecca Dog 313 is asking, how do you pick the subjects that you read on?
Open up AP News and what's the headlines today?
Yeah, I mean, some of it really truly is. We're looking at what's happening in the news cycle, and then we're trying to balance that with what we think you folks would be interested in watching.
Yeah,
there's many times Dave and I are talking about, okay, what do you want to read on? And I'll come up with 2 or 3 topics, and Dave's like, "That's great. If you want 3,000 views, go ahead and do that video."
And it's not necessarily to say, because sometimes I've done some of my favorite readings have not been watched by many people.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of one of those ones where I feel like it needs to be read on and put out there. But like we read on the economy the other day, or the results of Trump's tariffs, and given all the Epstein stuff, I knew that wasn't going to get many views. It doesn't mean the reading's not valid, and we're not necessarily chasing views. But as a creator, having people actually watch what you put out there is the fuel that you need to keep going. Yeah, every once in a while you'll throw something out there that nobody's going to want to watch.
Oh, I'm glad you highlighted this one. I saw that one come through. Yeah, with I haven't watched David Pac-Man, but I have watched Midas Touch. I like Midas Touch in as much as they do a lot of good research and they have a lot of good information. I just wish they would cut down about 80% the number of adjectives they used. They tend to use very strong adjectives and too many of them. We know that Donald Trump is corrupt, and we know that there's a whole bunch of problems. You don't have to keep slamming them. We understand. I get it.
Yeah, and that's where again where like Bo of the Fifth Column / Bell of the Ranch come in. They present a lot of facts and information, and they minimize the adjectives, but they still get the point across of what's corrupt versus non-corrupt, what you should be upset about versus not be upset about, and things to look for. My concern with Midas Touch is that when you add too many colorful adjectives to create outrage, while it engages the listener, it kind of undermines a little bit of the bias. Because I want to think of Midas Touch as being not biased, but when you use colorful adjectives, the bias comes in there. And I don't think they were always that way, but I'm sure the algorithms show when they add stuff like that, they get more viewers. And back to the thing you, Gary, and I were just talking about, is that you want people to watch what you're putting out there so that the message gets out. So there is a balance. I don't think they're there yet. And I don't think they'll ever get there because Fox News it's a coin flip if they're using facts or not.
Popok's really good. If Popok's got a video up there, it's pretty much Karen Cleese, I agree. Popok stuff is pretty good. There's one. Heidi Phillips had a good comment. Have you guys thought of teaching a tarot with humor course online? Oh, that would require Dave and I to understand how the cards mean again. Come on,
that sounds like work.
Exactly. just take what we got and imitate it. Fine, run with it. That's your course. $9.99.
Tuesdays we have our own bias. It starts being the focus things when it goes off the rails. And again, I'm trying to get a reading on a recurring dream that I never get a final. You know what? Back when I was a teenager, late teens, I kept having a recurring dream, and finally one night I was so exhausted, the dream went to its conclusion. It was a really interesting one. I think, again, at some point you'll be relaxed or exhausted enough. It'll get there. There might be something that with my dream, there was anxiety that would prevent the dream from finishing. And one night I was too exhausted, and it proceeded. I'm sorry if I'm being nebulous. I could share it. I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
If that were the case, then Gary's the most sensitive person ever.
I'm only half as sensitive as I was a few years ago. There might be something to that. Cats, you really need to be somewhat intuitive to understand a cat. You have to pay attention, and you have to sort of think, what are they trying to do here? What is the message they're trying to communicate to me? A dog is easy. Take me for a walk and feed me. Those two things will get you through 90% of a dog.
They tell them that they're a good boy or girl, and then that gets you most of the rest of the way. I will say that a lot of the viewers are cat people. Mm-hmm. But of course, we could, if we just redid the channel and not did tarot and just did cat videos.
Oh God,
we'd already have the silver platinum YouTube badge.
Oh, absolutely. We'd be heading towards the gold million subscriber video.
Exactly.
They're far more popular than we are. That is for sure.
No, any other comments in there? Did I miss any donations? Oh, I think I did. I don't know if I said this one.
Oh, no, you didn't. Hi, Linda. I think this is Linda from Virginia. Hi, Linda. Oh, so super.
How much can't remember if I did the Lynn Barnett one.
Lynn Bartlett. Yes, Mr. Bartlett or Ms. Bartlett.
Sorry, it's a Python reference.
Exactly. And a Mr. Bartlett. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that.
Anything else you want to bring up before we begin the closeout procedure here?
I am going to Oktoberfest in 2 weeks, and so what I may do, I had this thought, and Dave kind of touched on it too. I'll have some videos out there for everyone to watch. I'll do some solos, but I think what I want to do is I want to go back and find a couple of videos that were really good videos that nobody watched.
And then you go back and find ones that actually came true.
Well, it's just throw an intro on top of it, and then it's not quite of a best of, but it's just kind of the like right after the election, we were all really disappointed about the results, right? Questioning what the hell happened. And Dave and I put a video together back in November about, okay, fine. What are the lessons that we need to learn from this? And it was a really good video. And it only got a few thousand views. And I remember being so disappointed because it turned out really well. It was definitely one of those ones where, okay, we're open-minded. What are the cards telling us? The lessons learned from this. And I thought, I really want to give that one a second shot. So I'll probably throw a intro over the top of it, and then you'll see Dave and I where I'm a lot more pale and a little bit heavier.
I don't know if 2 hours of the cats. I mean, that might work for you. When I started dating Michelle, she was a big cat person. She really liked my Great Pyrenees Bella because she said, "This isn't a dog; it's 100-pound cat." Great Pyrenees are not the dogs for the faint of heart.
No. And unless you want to dig large holes in your garden.
And any command to them is purely an opinion that can be taken under consideration.
Yes, exactly.
Now, that being said, she was one of the most what's what I'm looking for? As far as dogs go, she was like, she wasn't like a golden retriever that lost all their instincts. She was the most instinctual dog I knew, whether it was digging a hole because it's hot outside or stuff like that. Bella was great.
Yeah.
Great dog, but peers are peers.
Yeah, Dallas would dig holes and then walk away, and then all the cats would jump in the hole to see if it was something exciting because it was different. Yay! Hi, Christine from Scotland.
I was doing something downstairs, and I had a TikTok on, and some fellow was walking around in Ireland, the northwest portion of Ireland, just south of Northern Ireland, through a small village of like 1,600 people going on a historical walk. It was just fascinating just to watch somebody walking through the historical district, telling a little bit about the buildings and stuff like that. To the point where Michelle's like, "Can we go live in Ireland?" Because she doesn't like the warm weather, and Ireland would certainly qualify for that. So would Scotland.
We when we were visiting Laura's sister in England, we all hopped on a train and went up to Scotland, and they have an under the city tour that is second to none. I mean, they literally built Edinburgh on top of old Edinburgh, and they have access where you could go down a building, and you are now into Edinburgh of the 1400s. It's fascinating as heck.
Yeah, and we really don't have that in the United States, so it makes it even more interesting.
Well, I think Portland actually has an under the city tour as well, which is interesting because Portland's got to be a newer city. Everything on the West Coast is new.
I hate to say this, but yes, and I would follow that up with, what the fuck were we thinking?
I absolutely believe that we sit down and we figure out what it is we want to do when we get here, and we pick our family and we pick our experience and the time frame that we're doing it. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, and again, it might just be if you treat this place as a classroom, there are certain lessons you want to learn, and there's going to be sort of fate, if you will, things that are going to happen so that you are shown those lessons. But then there's a lot of stuff that's just sort of filler in between that.
Hey, thank you so much, Selena. Woo. We had another one. We got I got a black cat looking at me.
I see that. But I like Selena's bird. So,
Yeah.
so the cockatoo there. Hold on for a second. Let me get to the.
Yay! Thank you,
Becky.
Becky. I get the sprinkler.
She's got a void. The eyes look similar to Nico's, at least color wise.
Exactly. It's
A
so
little
funny
more
when
on the yellow side.
when Dave holds Nico up to his shirt, because Dave usually has a dark shirt on. He just disappears into the shirt, and all you see is glowing eyes looking out at Dave's shirt. Very Amityville horror-esque.
We're going to leave it with this one right here. Scotland's absolutely beautiful. Been on a coach traveling near Liverpool to Glasgow, and the scenery is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. We went in like November. It was butt cold too.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming that the best time to probably visit is September, early mid, like now. The tourist season's pretty much come and gone, and things are going to calm down. So, the flights will be less expensive. The weather's going to be more moderate or temperate. Not nearly as big a crowds to go see things. Kind of maximize your experience. Now, if you want to go on the cheap, go in December. It's cold and wet.
It's all right. The pubs are warm.
That's true. If you're an old head. When you guys went to London last time, all the old heads went to the pubs while the kids went to, was it Piccadilly Circus to go check out all the clubs? Or the West End?
Leicester Square.
Okay.
And Dizzy Lizzie, do we ever go on vacation together? No, not really, huh? Dave and Shelley kind of have their places they go to. Laura and I have our places that we go to. Laura works for the airline, so we're constantly getting on airplanes and going places. And unfortunately, Dave and Shelley don't have that same freedom. They like to go to Mendocino. That's kind of their happy place.
Now, that being said, these two nutcases, they'll go to London for like a 4-day trip.
That's true.
And if I'm going to London, I'm not spending a day on the plane, one full day in London and a partial day in London, and then another day coming back home. Staying longer. And Gary doesn't get the vacation time that I get or that Michelle's accrued. So that's another thing that slows things down. Like, for instance, if we talked about taking a trip to Australia and New Zealand, and if Shell and I are going, we were going to be there for 3 weeks. And I think for Gary and Laura, it's like, 8 days ought to be just about right.
A week is fine. Now, Australia depends how much you want to see, because, I mean, if you want to get to Perth and you're landing in Sydney, well, yeah, you're probably going to need to budget a couple more days, because that's like going to the United States and trying to cover as much of the United States in 7 days as you can.
Honestly, to me, what would be fun for going to Australia is just to go hit the sites and the famous things. Like, we have to go visit Dr. Lena. We need to go grab Libby. I know Dave's over here somewhere, and it's just kind of like you would want to see if you could factor in. Chris, tell me, if you went to Australia, if you wouldn't try and figure out a way to hook up with Libby.
You have to.
Or at least you have to make an effort to see if you can do it.
There's no way you're going all that way and not trying to rope in Dr. Lena and Libby at a minimum, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because Dr. Lena, about a year or two ago, was doing a tour of the United States, and she was staying with other intuitives up in Oregon or Washington or something like that, and just it's just kind of a little meetup with the folks that she works in. What city is? I'm not sure. Do you know what city Libby is in?
I do not know.
I can't remember. I know I talked when I was on Dave's show. We talked a little bit about where everybody was living.
Well, she's getting ready to sell her place too, right?
Yeah, that's true. Libby had built like a custom home. She and her husband had a custom home, and I think they built it and they love it. But now they're selling it to move to a smaller place or something like that. I forget the reason why. But yeah, there's good times. Okay. Anyways, Thank you again, everybody. Let me go on the start just to make sure we've thanked people here. Okay, we're caught up with the super stickers.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, again for joining us today. Hope you had fun with the questions and the chit chat at the end. We try and do this about once a month.
Yep.
Oops, that's not the one I wanted. It's awesome, but that's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. Gary can answer the question because he asked her.
I was looking it up. It's Dame Edna something.
Oh yeah, Dame Edna passed away recently.
Dame Edna Everidge, a comedian that she's a huge fan of, and I've watched Dame Edna Everidge on YouTube, and absolutely hysterical. Yes, exactly.
And that Anne Sansi Sani with the E said she thinks that Libby's moving to New Zealand to be near her mom. Yeah, because her mom's been sick. Okay. All right. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your weekend. We got new videos coming up tonight at midnight and pretty much every day at midnight Pacific time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next videos. Take care.
Bye, folks.